Good evening. Cleaner air and lower emissions. This is another big win for the people of California. These votes tonight show that in California, climate action can be bipartisan, unlike in Washington, D.C. So I want to thank our Republican colleagues who voted for this package. I want to thank Miguel Santiago for acknowledging the applause line. In addition to building on our climate leadership, we are continuing to ensure that public health improvements are joined at the hip with environmental protection efforts, and that benefits are spread across the entire state of California. When we took up a similar bill a few months ago, Cristina Garcia from Bell Gardens asked a very poignant question. She said, "Tonight you have a choice. Do we all matter?" Tonight we answered that question in the affirmative. I'd like to introduce Cristina Garcia.
I want to start by thanking and recognizing all the folks who are not at the podium who worked on this. This is a team effort with our colleagues across the aisle, but really a team effort that included a lot of great staff members out there, and so I do want to recognize them for that. You know, I started this discussion with AB 378, and my goal was constantly to make sure that we didn't leave any Californians behind, that we had clean air and that we were taking care of our backyards while we're being global leaders on climate change. And today we integrated our policies on climate change and our air quality together with AB 398 and 617. And the reality is that we wouldn't be here without either of those bills out there. And so while we didn't get everything that everyone wanted, we are all collectively in a much better place, and I think we're showing the world how to make sure that everyone matters out there, and we answered that question today. I'm very proud of the work that we have done today, and I'm very proud of the work that I know we're going to continue to do to build on the good work that we did today out there. And so I'm excited to go home and tell my constituents that we have been treated like a wasteland for all my life, and people like myself have been told we're disposable or that we're not that important or that our issues could wait. But starting today, we're telling these people that we do matter and that we're no longer going to have to wait and that they deserve their piece of justice. And so that's what today is about today. And so very proud of the work today, very appreciative for all my colleagues that worked so hard to get this across the finish line today. I want to thank our leadership in both houses. This work wouldn't be possible without the pro tem, the speaker, who has been an amazing partner in this effort, and the governor, who allowed us to share our climate change policies and clean air together. I have the privilege of working with Eduardo Garcia, who is not my sibling, but I think in this process we are like hermanos and now. And so it's my honor to introduce my colleague from Coachella, who is an amazing advocate for everyone across the state of California, to speak.
Good afternoon, and Mr. Governor, Speaker Pro Tem, and of course Speaker Rendon, thank you for your leadership in this issue of climate change. But more importantly, thank you for thinking of all the Californians who my colleague Cristina Garcia speaks of when we're talking about equity, inclusiveness in these policies. AB 398, AB 617 strike a fine balance between ensuring that our economies can continue to be vibrant with the investments we've seen in the renewable energy industries, but at the same time that we begin taking care of our backyards, as Assemblywoman Cristina Garcia just mentioned. Air quality is extremely important for many of us in our districts. As we've mentioned before, tremendous amount of high percentages of children suffering from respiratory disease problems. Very proud to be able to stand with our colleagues from both sides of the aisle. And clearly, this has been a bipartisan effort. Para los medios que están aquí en español, es un honor poder estar aquí bajo el liderazgo de nuestro gobernador, el presidente de la Cámara del Senado y el vocero de la Asamblea Estatal. Claramente, este fue un esfuerzo en donde se buscó asegurar que hubiera un balance político, que aseguremos que podamos asegurar que nuestras inversiones en el tema del cambio climático y al mismo tiempo la calidad del aire en nuestras comunidades sea prioridad, los californianos. Para nosotros, obviamente no se pudo hacer este esfuerzo sin que tuviéramos el apoyo bipartidista, nuestros colegas republicanos, quienes están aquí con nosotros. Y para concluir, creo que las caras que ven aquí, el rostro de las personas que han abogado por estas políticas públicas, es un ejemplo de lo que significa ser un californiano. La diversificación de nuestro estado depende del liderazgo de todas las personas que están aquí y que apoyaron estas políticas públicas. Gracias. Una introducción a nuestro amigo, no va a hablar en español, pero es el líder del Partido Republicano, Chad Mace.
I got the last part of that. Well, it is so good to be here. You know, it's fascinating. Republicans don't get to stand on the stage very much, as you can imagine. You know, I'll tell you, for people like me, and you heard some of the comments tonight from some of my Republican colleagues, pretty tired of partisan politics. We didn't come here to Sacramento to just be Republicans and to hate on Democrats. That's not who we are. We came up here to Sacramento to try to make people's lives better. Now, the truth is, we care deeply about the people of this state. We care that this is a state that we can afford to live in. And what we got out of this package today, we lowered taxes, we reduced costs, we reduced regulations, and at the same time, we're going to protect our environment. That's a good deal. Now, I know for some, they're going to look at this and say, what in the world is going on? Why are Republicans talking about something like cap and trade? Well, I'll tell you, we believe that markets are better than Soviet-style command and control. We believe that markets are better than the government coercing people into doing things that they don't want to do. We believe that businesses in California want to do the right thing, which is why we supported cap and trade. I'll tell you, listening to some of my colleagues tonight on the floor, I was incredibly proud of them because what they decided was that they were going to put the job that they had over their political jobs. They were going to put the people of California ahead of their own careers. I'm exceptionally proud of them, and I'm proud that we got this bipartisan effort done. It's good for the Republican Party. It's good for Californians, and I look forward to working together in the future. Thank you. And I will bring up Rocky Chavez.
I'm the little short guy behind this stage right here, Mike, to get the singer. I don't think I can stand up. You know, in the Corps, we learned that the first thing you always thank are the people that actually made this happen. And to the governor's staff, Carmel and Nancy, to our own staff, Saren and Joe, and to my own staff, Brooke and Veronica Badillo, you know, you 6 people really did yeoman work and hammered this thing out. And so we're all sitting up here getting the praise, but you were the ones who put this thing together for us. So I'd like to thank you. Now, my message will be short. It's kind of taking off what I said on the floor earlier. This is great we did this, but it's only the beginning. The real value of this, as I said before, California is only 1% of this issue of dealing with carbon. But California has the capability to be the leader in the world, the leader in technology, the leader that's going to show other states and other countries how you can use a market-based system to use carbon and how you can change your economy to be a green economy so that we can protect this earth. That is California's future. That is California's jobs. And so after we leave out here and we start talking about it, we need to look at bills and we need to look at how we carry this message, not just around California and our districts, because even though that's nice, we need to be thinking about how we carry it to Oregon, to Washington, to neighboring states. And the other day I had the opportunity to sit with a governor and he said, he's going to talk to the Pope. And being Catholic and the Knights of Columbus 4th degree, that means a big deal to me. So I'm going to try to go with him. But the bottom line is this. We did a great thing tonight. We'll do a greater thing if we take a leadership role and take us to the next level. That's the future of California. So now it's my honor to introduce somebody who we're calling each other kindred spirits now. We've been dealing with a lot of different things. our leader, our pro tem, Kevin DeLeon.
Thank you very much, Assemblymember Rocky Chavez. I can tell each and every one of you that legislative unicorns do exist. Whether it's a legislative unicorn or a legislative Sasquatch, they do exist. I do want to give a very special thank you. And I'm glad that Rocky did recognize these individuals, but I do want to recognize Dan Reeves, my Chief of Staff. I want to recognize Kerry Cornwall, the Chief of Staff to Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon. And I want to recognize also to Nancy McFadden, the Governor's Chief of Staff as well. And there's a whole number of individuals from the Governor's office, but also a very special recognition to both Kip Lipper as well as Marie Lou, who's present here today. I want to thank both of you, too. And I want to give a very special thank you and a huge recognition to my colleague, my peer, the Speaker of the California State Assembly, Anthony Rendon. Anthony Rendon. And to Governor Jerry Brown as well. Let's get it for Governor Jerry Brown. The reason why I underscore these two individuals is I remember when we all got together, all three of us, months back, and it was during very long, arduous, painstaking negotiations during the course of weekends on July 4th when everyone was celebrating with constituents and family and loved ones. Us three, along with our staff members, were here, working the clock, 12 hours, 14 hours, almost every single day. And we were able to land this deal again. Legislative unicorns do exist. This is an example for not just the entire nation, but for the entire world. How you can move forward by delinking, decoupling carbon from GDP. How you can reduce harmful carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere, while at the same time putting ordinary Californians to work in the clean energy space. In California alone, we have created more than 500,000 jobs in the clean energy space by sending the right market signals that have been critical to attract the necessary capital to actually develop and create the technologies that are necessary to actually reach our carbon target goals. This is why this is a huge victory, not just for everyday Californians, but for the entire nation, because we have proven here today that with or without Washington, California will always lead. With or without Washington, California will send a message throughout the entire world. You know, I'll make reference to a legislative unicorn. You know, it's not just folks on both spectrums, whether it is industry or environmental groups or labor. I like what Chad Mays had to say today. And I want to give a very special recognition to the Republican leader of the Assembly, along with his Republican staff as well, too. They stood up and they made this a bipartisan deal, moving forward together, collectively, not as Republicans or Democrats, but as men and women who believe in the environment and who believe that every single child deserves to breathe clean air into his or her lungs, and that we should be able to move forward a market mechanism, short of a carbon tax, that says we can actually grow this economy and reduce harmful carbon pollutants. This is what this deal means to all of us. And by definition of a 2/3 vote, that means you have to find compromise. You have to find common ground with all stakeholders and with Republicans in the Assembly as well as the Senate with my good friend Tom Berryhill, who stood up. So this is a culmination of long, painstaking, arduous hours of negotiation day after day from morning to night. This is a huge victory for all Californians because the world is watching very closely what we're doing here today and for the foreseeable future. That's why I'm really proud to share this victory with all the individuals on the stage today, senators and assembly members from both sides of the aisle, the staff members, my friend, my peer, Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon, and next, the great governor, the governor who stood tall and kept his nose to the grindstone and helped grind us together. Oftentimes, I can tell you this, governors and principals, they don't hang out during negotiations. This was a very different circumstance, without a doubt. And you had a man who had more than enough skin in the game to make sure this actually came to fruition and happened. Let's get up for the great governor of the state of California, Jerry Brown.
Thank you. So, well, thank you. This is pretty amazing. I must say, I didn't know where it was going a few days ago, but here we are. And I think there's a lot to celebrate, there's a lot to appreciate, a lot to recognize. First of all, I want to refer to my staff back there, who was up till many hours of the night, working weeks at a time, 4th of July, last night. And I think Catalina is working for 2 people. So that's pretty darn amazing. And her sidekick over here, Alice, was working right alongside her. And then, and you know, I can talk about Richard Corey, but I won't because he's the technical genius here. But I also want to say Nancy McFadden was a key player in this whole thing. And I want to just say specifically what her skill set is. She understands the politicians and how to work with them. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, she's smart as hell and can read legal language, and she knows what that's going on. And number 3, she knows how to write. And number 4, she knows how to manage. I think she's ready for any job that anybody can find in a year and a half. Any job. Not for a year and a half, but or whatever. But that's true. And there's just a lot to say. Our leaders, the authors of the bill. I do want to single out one person here from the other party, Devin Mathis, and I'll tell you why. I think that county is the county that I got the lowest vote in any of my elections. Tulare County that he represents. So when he said this, what did he say? It sucks? Well, it's still pretty damn good. That took all the Marine courage that he honed in Iraq to be able to say to the people of Tulare, Brown isn't all bad, and there's a good bill here that Republicans and Democrats can vote for. So, and I want to thank Tom and Tom Berry and the others, but I'm not as unpopular in some of those other districts as I am. I think Inyo is not so good either. So this is rising above party. And what's so good about this, and what we don't see in many other places, when you can lock something in with support of Republicans and Democrats, it has durability. And when you just, by mere muscle, majority push something, it tends to get upset down the road. So I think we've got a durable foundation. And why we're here, it isn't just the people, well, maybe some of you are here, but when Arnold Schwarzenegger and the ARB put all this together, they've created this mysterious mechanism called cap and trade, which I'm sure many of you understand better than I do, because it's very mysterious. It's a market that's created by government, but once let loose, it operates on those principles of the price signal. And it's very efficient, very elegant, and it keeps costs down. That's why we have Republicans voting here, and that's why we're all here, Democrats and Republicans, because we have a path forward. And we know that because, well, I'll tell you how we know that. We have George Shultz that supports it, and we have Pete Wilson that supports it, and all the people here that support it. So I would say we're dealing with real truth and something real important for the people of our state. So now we got to go forward and make it work. And I want to say something about all the industries, because they had a big impact, all the people that supported this thing. I mean, the chamber that sued to stop it and now writes to support it. There's a lot of mystery here, and there's a lot of miracle, and maybe there's a lot of prayer. But we're here, it's good, and we're going to do our best to keep faith with what all you've put into it and with the people of California are expecting. It's a great day for California. It's a great day for bipartisanship, and it's a great day for the planet, for climate, and for clean air in many of our cities that haven't been getting it their share. So thank you very much. And that's it. Okay? Oh, questions. You have questions at this hour of the night, but go ahead.
Can you speak to the change from the Chamber of Commerce? As you mentioned earlier, they went from, suing you over this to supporting it. What happened?
Well, you'd have to ask the leadership over there, but I would say that when SB 32 passed and we have a cap, 40% reduction of the 1990 levels of CO2 and greenhouse gases, that cap is there. And the state of California is going to get down to 260 million tons of greenhouse gases, and we're now about 441. Well, if you want to get there by regulation, it's going to be very expensive and painful and cumbersome. So they knew the only path forward, as George Shultz said, is the cap and trade. And he also referenced Ronald Reagan and the Montreal Treaty on chlorofluorocarbons when Ronald Reagan said, this is an insurance policy. We're not 100% sure, but if we're wrong and you put an ozone hole, we're all going to get irradiated. This is the same way. This is an insurance policy. I think the business community, to a great extent, sees that and embraced where we're going.
And what about the environmental justice advocates who are very unhappy with the outcome of the bill and feel that the visit you paid to Los Angeles didn't pay off the way they hoped?
Well, I would say that if you can talk to our ARB experts who really understand the bill, but the increase of penalties is something they could never get, and we got it. Number two, the community plans, where instead of looking at the Southern California Air Basin or all Central Valley, from one end to the other, the state, under the Air Resources Board and local air quality management districts, they're going to identify limited areas where they think excessive pollution exists and vulnerable people are living, and they're going to go there, monitor, come up with a plan, not just monitor, get the data, get a plan, and embark upon a real reduction from the actual sources that are causing the problem. So that's a big deal. Now, I know some of the people, and I saw them, I have to say, they said this, but not true. And that is, did we really preempt any local authority? Answer is no. No criteria pollutants. The stuff, as Kevin DeLeon was saying in his talk, the NOx, the ozone, all the various other things that hurt people's lungs and the environmental justice people are really worried about, that is under the full authority of local air districts. What we said was, when we have our cap and trade system that is working, you don't have to have a duplicate system at the local level and the state level relating to CO2. CO2 is not a local problem, it's a global problem. And that's the reason why if we do it by ourselves, it's not enough. We got to get the whole world on the same page. So that's why I think the environmental justice, for whatever reason, missed that fundamental fact that we limited something, that nobody's doing anyway, not in Southern California, not in San Joaquin. There's some proposal in the Bay Area regarding climate change, but it all can be done by the cap. The cap's going down. It's cap and trade, and so there's other duplicative regulations don't make a lot of sense. And besides that, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be standing here.
Governor, what role did conversations around affordable housing play in getting today's vote done?
Well, that's another important issue to a lot of people in this building, and that played a very important role. Yes, we're committed to doing some serious work on affordable housing, and we'll get it done.
Was that needed to get some votes from Democrats on the left?
Look, you never know exactly what's needed. Everything we did was needed because we got it done. And I don't want to parse out. What?
Sorry, Democrats faced a lot of political heat earlier this
What?
year for passing the gas tax. Do you think that doing the cap and trade through a bipartisan bill has eased some of the pressure on Democrats in the elections
Well,
next year?
that's another one. So we have people in the environmental justice movement that they have some thoughts that don't tally with the facts or reality, and people on the other side who tried to characterize this, and I heard their talks, that this was a gas tax. It is not a gas tax. That was another bill at another time. This is about a cap and trade system that lowers costs. And this bill that everybody signed on to reduced taxes by billions and got rid of the fire fee. So this is a tax reduction bill. It's an efficiency bill, and yet it's an environmental protection bill. So the people who say something different on any of these topics are not correct.
Alexis, let me say that we don't live in a world of absolutes. So you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
All right, I think it's a late hour. You've heard a lot. I think it's all done. These are the people who did it. Thank you very much. Everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Amazing.
Yeah.